what kind of piece of advice would you give that person or yourself, your younger self?
Just know that everybody's path is different. But if you have a goal and you have somewhere where you want to be, you can get there. Your path isn't going to look the same as the person next to you. You really can achieve what you want through hard work and through just having good people around you.
Who did you want to be like?
I want to be like Troy Polamalu, man.
That's a good
bro,
answer.
if I'm talking about a football player, bro, that guy was just a superstar all over the place. Long hair, man.
Dude,
making
honestly,
plays.
bro, you seen his highlights, bro? Like
crazy.
those were some of the crazy highlights, bro. Like jumping over the center,
scooping like one finger under the ball. Like,
yeah, I still remember those highlights, bro.
You can't really get too far by yourself in life. No matter how successful you are, you're always gonna feel something's missing.
Yep.
You gotta have people around you. You gotta have, God in your life. You gotta, or just a purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going solo is gonna even be more taxing on your life if you're gonna try to do that way.
That's so true. I feel like that's the pattern we've seen with everyone that we talked to, on the podcast about, what's been one thing that's helped them the most. And I think the most constant or most consistent thing is they talk about their faith. Hey, what's up, guys? We're back with another episode of Inside the Y. I'm your host, Hinckley Ropati.
And I'm your co-host, Keanu Tanuvasa. And today we're coming back to y'all with another episode. Blessed to be here with Logan Lutui.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir, Logan. We appreciate you for being here, bro. Man. Logan, I guess first off, just to start off our conversation, just kind of talk about, your journey, I guess, your upbringing, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously you're of Tongan descent. Mm-hmm. That's a common thing, obviously, here at BYU with a lot of Polynesians here. But yeah, kind of talk about your upbringing and where you grew up and kind of how you got involved in sports in the first place.
Yeah. Well, so both my parents, they were born in Tonga. Then they both migrated here. My mom when she was younger, my dad after his mission. So we grew up, me and my family, I have 6 siblings, or there's 6 of us, 5 boys, 1 girl. We grew up in West Valley. Just humble home, nothing too big, but it was a good childhood, man. With 5 boys, our room that we shared, it was us 5 in the basement. So you could just, if you ask any of our friends or if you ever came down to our basement, you would just see holes all around the room. That's where we practice football, see who's the strongest.
Yeah.
They know I was. But yeah, I'm number 4 out of the 5 boys. And I guess, we just loved going outside. I guess football was something that just was natural for us to get into. Just like a lot of polys. So growing up, I played football since I was little league, since 8 years old. Grew up, played rugby in high school, some basketball, but that's how I got into sports and how my football journey started. So
yeah, that's crazy, bro. Because talk about siblings. For those who don't know, so actually I served with one of Logan's brother in the Philippines, Jordan, and I remember seeing your brother for the first time on the mission. I was like, dang, this dude is massive. This is a big dude, super athletic. Every time we're playing sports, this dude can do it all. And long and behold, when I get here to BYU, a couple of seasons afterwards, Logan gets here. And I'm not surprised that they're brothers, you know what I mean? Right. The athleticism and, sports definitely, it's a natural knack for them. And so that's super dope, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and I guess, because speaking about missions, you also served a mission, right?
Yeah.
You served in? I
served in the New Zealand Auckland mission. So I was able to serve with Mason Whakahua and his wife. I was in the MTC with Isaac Rex. So, yeah.
A lot of BYU connection teammates,
Isaac Rex knows what happened in the basketball courts in the MTC. So he knows. But, my wife that I'm married to now is another of our teammates' sisters, Raider's sister.
That's right.
So and I also served with her first cousin, who's at the U right now. His old teammate, Livani. That's Yeah, I trained him.
Crazy, bro.
That's awesome. You got all these like little integrations and connections.
Yeah.
You know, you can see that your culture of family and connections runs deep.
Yeah.
You know, I think a big part of that comes from the Polynesian culture, and then even more so, BYU is such a big family-oriented place. Right, we talk about us playing together on the D line.
Yeah.
Right, we're in meetings together. We're talking together. We're training together on the field. A lot of the fans, they get to see Logan Lutui on the field on game day, you know. But for me, being a part of us being together, us working together on a daily, consistent basis, they don't see who Logan is as a family member of the BYU football team. They see him as a leader on the field, but they don't see his day-to-day actions. And so for you, as a leader of BYU, as a leader of the team, as a leader of the D-line, what kind of has put you or set you on this path of so much care and hard work to drive other people? That it's not just about you, that now it's broader, it's bigger, and you have this outreach to other players.
I think it just comes back from my journey here to BYU. So I started at Weber State, and the way I left Weber, I was actually playing for Coach Hill at Weber, but I actually transferred to BYU the year before he got here. So when I made that transition, it was a pretty tough transition. That's when my son was born, or my wife was pregnant, and it was just hard financially. So we weren't able to stay where we were at. Money was tight at Weber, so we had to make the decision to leave. And so when I got here and I got the opportunity to come here, I walked on here in that 2022 season. My whole mindset was just put my head down and work. And so, just from the get-go, I just put my head down and work. I was told I was going to come in just as a fall camp practice guy. Like, he's just telling me that he needs bodies. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to, just keep working. And by that third game against Oregon that year, I was able to break that starting lineup. So I think something that helped me was just keep my head down and working, and just knowing that like you just can never be comfortable with where you're at, especially at this level. And for, like you said, when we're talking about our D-line, and what's kind of helped me to, I guess, care more about just where I'm at and more about the team, and trying to accomplish more than what we did last year, is just like, we were talking about this yesterday with Coach Hill. You just, a leader, just, you're doing what you can, but then you're bringing one with you. And that's what, the mindset is right now with the defense, especially, and as our team is, we're just trying to bring one more guy along to add to that depth, to add to that unity that we want on the field, that trust, that when that person or whoever comes onto the field, we know that we could trust him because of what we went through on the offseason or whatnot throughout practices. So I think that's something that's helped me, just keeping your head down and working, and just knowing that you're gonna need everybody when the season comes. It's a long season, and you're gonna need everybody to get through that season. And the more you can have bought in, the more that you can as a leader to bring along with you, the further you're gonna go. So I think that's what's helped me.
Nah, that's facts. You talked about when you first got here, and obviously some of the trials you went through. Not just individually, but as with your family, with your wife, and obviously with, Ziggy being on the way, and then finances and all these things, you know what I mean? Obviously, and then with the decision of coming to BYU, leaving Weber State, where you were actually having a very promising career over there under a really good coach, Jay Hill, who's obviously here now, right? And then when you get here, I still remember when you first got here, you know what I mean? And I remember everybody was like, oh, this guy's just coming to, like you said, like, feel the body. And so, like, in the fall camp you had, everybody looked at us like, nah, this guy's not here to feel the body. This guy's going to play. And long and behold, by week 2 against Oregon, this guy was in the starting lineup. Like, and it wasn't a surprise to anybody who watched this guy, work and grind all through fall camp and get to where he is. But then even when that happened, the trials didn't stop there. You know what I mean? Obviously, when the Oregon game, those who don't know, you got hurt the Oregon game, right? You tore was it after that?
The game after.
The game after, right?
Yeah,
week 3 tore your ACL, right? And things were just starting to did your thing, Oregon. Then the next week, it was like, things were just starting to pick up for you, and then all of a sudden, boom, another, I guess, trial, came your way with the injury. It was your ACL you tore, correct?
Yes.
And so kind of talk about that. It just feels like, you know what I mean? Like, you were just beat up and battered, you know what I mean? All these things were coming your way, but you continue to prevail. You continue to, come through on top no matter what was thrown your way. And so kind of talk about what's the mindset, or what exactly goes through your mind when you're going through moments like that in life, and kind of just, give some more of that.
Yeah, I mean, that one was kind of a hard time right there, especially when like things are starting to look good, everything's looking promising, and then boom, you're just like, I was hit with that. When I was hit with that injury, that was something that set me back a lot. I was pretty down, but I think something that helped me a lot was my wife. Like she was my rock behind it all. After that whole incident, she, there was many times like, man, should I just find a job now, just hang it up? And she was always behind me, just saying, no, just keep going. Like you can do this. And she was just so supportive. She was being able to be that person to push me, support me to, especially through those times. And ended up being really good for us, just coming back that next year, having a better year, that 2023. I was still coming back off of that injury, but last year I was able to have a good year, just because I know it was because of the push and the support I was receiving from my wife. And and also just keeping your head, just knowing that you just got to work. Like nothing's in football, any play could be your last play. Mm-hmm. We've seen many great players, just like one of our good boys, Ben Bywater, was his career was at its peak, and just that injury against that Kansas game is another example of how anything can be taken from you. So like that. Exactly. So I think another thing is just just being grateful for what you do have, being grateful that we have an training staff at BYU that helped us get back to the field. And I think that's what helped me to stay positive and keep going through it, especially through that time.
I think people underestimate, or people don't really know when it comes to injuries, it's a lot mental than it is physical. You know what I mean? The physical part, but I feel like that's the part that's the easier part. You know what I mean? Like getting back from injury and getting healthy again. The hardest part is staying mentally locked in, mentally motivated. You know what I mean? And then one thing that, obviously dealing with injuries myself, one thing that's helped me, and you mentioned it as well, it's like the support system that you have. People don't understand how important it is to surround yourself with positive people, and people who are supportive of your dream, and how much of a difference that can make. And I think for me, that was the biggest thing. You know what I mean? Just like you said, like your wife was your rock during those times, and I can testify to that, bro, because my wife was the same exact way. You know what I mean? And my family, my pops, always being there and reminding me of the dream that I know I've always had since I was young. And it can be hard to remember those things, especially when you're not able to do the thing that you love. When all your whole life you've just been playing football, and this has been, your kind of way to outlet on things, and then all of a sudden it's taken away from you for a time. You know what I mean? It can be a very hard thing mentally more than anything. So no, man, that's some awesome advice, bro.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people don't understand, just as Hinckley was saying, and as you touched on, is people don't understand the mental battle that athletes take. It was a conversation I even had with my fiance a little bit ago. I was like, I was letting her know before we got engaged and stuff, are you sure you want to live this life? If we're blessed to make it to the NFL, man, your life is put on blast everywhere. You can't walk around without being seen, something said about you, all of these things. And so the mental side of the game is, you have to choose your hard. Working a 9 to 5 is difficult, but also working this career. Like we might have summer where it's like a month off and they're like, wow, football players get it so easy. They get NIL, they get these things, they get all this free gear, and all they have to do is play football. But it's like, man, this is a mentally taxing thing. And so for you, speaking on kind of the mental health side of things with athletes, with anyone, what advice would you give someone that's kind of going through a rough patch in their life? You talked about your support system, but what has Logan done? What have you done in your own life to kind of pull yourself out of difficult situations? It can be from a football standpoint, but obviously these principles apply to anyone that's listening at any aspect of their life.
Yeah. This is just because it's so rooted in me from when I was young, is that, just believing in something bigger than yourself. And if that's a purpose, if that's a being, I think that's what really brings hope to your life. I mean, being a member of the church, like, you know that, like, having God at the forefront of your life in every decision, in every trial, in every aspect, if you really do it to like 100%, like, you'll see differences no matter what high you're experiencing or low you're experiencing. You'll know that like no high is too high or no low is too low. You know that that God is always there and supports, like, he's that biggest support system that we need. And I think for whatever issues or problems anyone could be going with, that's the biggest thing that's brought purpose to me or brought hope, is knowing that there's somebody that I can, like, turn to, somebody that knows me specifically, has my situation already understood. Like, he's been through, he knows what I need in that time. So I guess just, just finding that connection and really building that connection with Christ and God, and, just family is another thing that just has always been, always there for you. So just making sure that, you can't really get too far by yourself in life. No matter how successful you're always going to feel something's missing.
Yep.
And that, you gotta have people around you. You gotta have, God in your life. You gotta, or just a purpose. You know what I mean? Yeah. Going solo is gonna make it's gonna even be more taxing on your life if you're gonna try to do it that way.
That's so true. I feel like that's the pattern we've seen with everyone that we talked to, on the podcast about, what's been one thing that's helped them the most. And I think the most constant or most consistent thing is they talk about is their faith. You know what I mean? Their faith and how important that is. And I think it kind of reminds me, because, like, a lot of times as ball players, especially when you first get to college, it's like, it can be easy to think that it's football. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then, but when things don't go your way and things don't happen, like, what do you have then? You know what I mean? Like, the football is taken away, right? And then so, like you said, I think it's super important, I think, for also fans to recognize that, like, football is not everything for us players. You know what I mean? It's a huge part of our life. But, like, I came in with the mentality, or at least I developed this along my time being here and meeting my wife and obviously having a family now. It's like, football is amazing, and it's a great way for me to be able to obviously provide a certain, way of life for my family. But at the end of the day, it's really a vessel for me to be able to, achieve my ultimate goal, which is to glorify Heavenly Father in all that you do. You know what I mean? And so it doesn't really matter what is that you're involved in, as long as at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? Yeah. And just to be able to be put on this platform as us, as players, to be able to do so, I think it's just it's been a blessing. You know what I mean? And I think that's one thing that I think fans get, confused about, is that, like, man, like, why are you guys like this and that and that? But, like, football is not everything for us. You know what I mean? It's just another tool we can use for a greater purpose. You know what I mean? And so,
yeah, I completely agree. Off the top of my head, I wanted to ask you kind of just a quick set of questions, kind of just to see, for us to get to know you better, for the fans to get to know you better. So it doesn't require the longest of answers, but we want to get to know more of who Logan Lutui is, right? So some of them will be random. Some of them might be, a little bit more deep, and you can take your time, but answer however you please.
All right.
All right. First question is, what is the best piece of advice that Logan has ever received, you've ever gotten?
The best piece of advice. Your wife's always right. That will save you a lot of problems, huh? Just kidding.
Ain't that the truth, bro?
I need to take the advice now.
That one's for you, bro. Oh, for you. No, but I mean, it's pretty cliche, but I mean, just put God first. Honestly, that's the most simple thing I can say.
I love that. Secondly, what is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Dang.
Worst piece of advice.
Worst piece of advice.
That's a good one. Doesn't even have to be football related, bro.
Yeah, it's just a vibe.
Man. I'm drawing a blank, man. I don't know.
That's okay.
We can give you an example of some of the worst ones. Probably new. You can go. What was the worst piece of advice that you were given?
Last week we were with Chase, and Chase said that someone gave him the advice to be more mean that he was too nice. He's too upbeat, too happy, too Christ-centered. You know, I think one of mine that I've received is don't overcomplicate things, and it's not that simple. Like, it's not that easy to achieve your dreams. And I think that's the dumbest thing, because I think it is. I think you work and you can achieve it, you know? So I think there's little things like that people say to you that conform us to a little bit of a box. But in reality, you know, we're in control of our destiny. And so that's kind of what this question is alluding to, is what do people say that you think we should ignore, that is just noise out there?
I'm trying to put it into words, but I'm trying to think something along something with especially my route in school. There's a lot of people that are like, I don't want to say take the easier route, but
like, is that the advice they would say? Like, take the easier route? Or like, what do you?
Well, just because there's just like I was telling you what class I just came from, there's a lot of people that are dropping out right now.
Yeah.
And just going to take it online after. Like, there's always another way to get this done, kind of. Okay. And I'm just like, bro, you're already 10 toes in this. Like, you got to finish out what you started, kind of thing. Basically, but I don't know how to put it into words like what you're saying, like advice.
A backup plan, like it's okay to have a plan B, or like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But then it is good to have a plan B.
But it is good. But I get what you mean. I get what you mean, though. Like, in a way, like that can be a worse piece of advice, right? Because I've also heard this saying, I don't know if you guys heard about it, but it's like, don't have a plan B because it takes away or distracts from plan A. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was something I was trying to go along with.
Okay.
Somebody was
No, I get what you mean. That's something that I honestly live by. You know what I mean? Like, the plan A is always, you know what I mean? Like I said earlier, like what my goals are with football or whatever it may be. But yeah, I mean, I'm sticking to that, and I'm gonna do whatever I can and work hard to make that happen. You know what I mean? No matter how hard it's gonna get, I'm gonna stick with that plan. You know what I mean? And so I can definitely see how that can be a worse advice, because, you know, people will tell you all the time, like, man, don't worry. It's like, I get, especially with class in school, you know what I mean? Like, you can always take it again next semester, or you can always drop in.
And then it's basically saying like you can always give up, basically. Like, like if it's getting to, like, when they're going against stuff, you can fall out and do it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, trying again is not a bad thing, but like, there's different things and skills you build when you stick through things when the going gets tough. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
But to put it into words, it's kind of, I didn't know how to say that. I didn't know how to say that.
It's difficult.
I was trying to say good advice, but then in a bad way.
Yeah. It's just kind of natural to understand, you know, that it's something you've gone through, but it's hard to put it into words, to perspective for other people to apply it as well. I had another one that I wanted to ask you, and it's, when you were younger, who did you want to be like?
Bro, I wanted to be like Troy Polamalu, man.
Bro,
if I was talking about a football player, bro, that guy was just a superstar all over the place. Long hair, man. Dude, making
honestly,
plays.
bro, you ever seen his highlights, bro? Like,
crazy.
Those were some of the crazy highlights, bro. Like,
jumping over the center.
Scooping, like one finger under the ball. Like,
yeah, I still remember those highlights, bro. No, I agree, bro. Troy Polamalu is one of, like, the guys that, like, growing up, especially as a Polynesian, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, man, like, you know what I mean? This is what I want to do when I grow up. Like, you know what I mean? I want to do that, you know what I mean? And it's kind of funny because, like, I mean, I'm an offensive player now, right? I play running back. But growing up, all I wanted to do was play safety. And it's really because of Troy Polamalu and the way he approached the game. And then not just the way he's on the field, but even off. You know what I mean? When you interview him, I don't know if you got, but there was like a running joke of like Troy Polamalu, how soft his voice was, and how, like, you know, his personality. Bro. And it's like, and it's hilarious because, like, that's exactly who, like, you know what I mean? I look up to, like, kind of people I look up to, and I'm surrounded by, you know, just people who are dogs on the field. And all of a sudden, when it's, you know, off the field, there's just like this super humble, like, wait a minute, where's this monster that's on the field?
That's true, man.
All right, last one I got for you before we give it back to Hink, whatever he's got is, and this one could be a little bit longer. You know, this is one thing that's been on my mind. Being here at BYU, man, a lot of people have been communicating about the year that we had last year. And then the focus turns to, okay, what is the year going to look like that we're going to have this year? You know, how's it going to look going forward? And so even for me, you know, leaving the University of Utah, being here now at BYU, I've been, you know, caused to reflect a lot on what I want in life, you know, what the reality is behind my decision, what the reality is behind why I'm here, and am I giving everything to this team that I said I would give, and not just being here. And so the question that I've been reflecting on that I want to hear from you is, what do you want Logan Lutui's legacy to be like at BYU? What legacy do you want to leave? And what are you doing to achieve that now?
Yep. I think for myself, what I want to be known for, as a football player or as somebody here at BYU, if it was to be on the football field, I want to be somebody to remember it with like fanatical effort. Like just, I think that's something that separates good from great teams, especially like when you're looking at on the defensive standpoint. Bro, when you see a defense and 11 hats at the ball after every play, bro, you know that defense is gonna, like, that's a great defense. Like nobody's no walking on the field, everybody's moving with urgency. And not only do I want to play like that, but I want to like have everyone around me playing like that. That's what I want my defense to be. It's more of a like what I want the team to be looking like. And I guess for myself to, how will I get that done? It's always reminding, especially our defense, because we had a really great year last year. It was reminding them that what happened last year is last year. That's last year's team. Yep. Like a lot of the success came from last year. Like the 2025 football team has improved nothing. We haven't won a game. We're not that top 10 defense anymore. We still have players. We still have those same players, but it's different when you like production-wise. And that comes from staying humble, staying the course, stacking the days. And I think that's where, you just need people to always remind the team that, or remind it through, leadership, or remind it through example by showing each and everything. That's what I'm hoping I'm doing. That's what I'm hoping I'm doing, that like, a younger classmate can look up and see that like even I'm going into my last year that I'm still trying to win these reps, trying to, compete, trying to talk some smack to the guy next to you, push him to compete in that drill. And that's something that like really elevates a team, and especially the culture, just keeping the standard high. And like, just bringing the whole team along with you. The more you can like bring along with you, it's going to make a world of a difference. I mean, especially with our last year team, the unity we had was, I think it was, for me, it was unmatched to it, like any other team that I've been on so far. Like that's what made the biggest difference for our season and our success, is we had people bought in, and we had, just that trust and love and brotherhood that we needed to have that season.
For sure. Bro, I agree. I think, like you said, bro, last year was last year. Yeah. And I think that's a big reason a lot of us seniors who walked last year in our senior game decided to come back. Obviously, you just announced not too long ago that you're running it back for one more season. And, a lot of us seniors kind of made the same decision, but to come back for one more year, right? And I think a big part of it is exactly what you say. And I feel there's also some part of that's like, there's some unfinished business that we want to come back and do personally and as a team as well, right? And so obviously last year was last year. We did what we did last year, and it was great and all that, but like the ceiling is so much higher where we know what we can get. And we've, especially now with this off season, with a lot of guys returning and new added pieces, you know what I mean? My guy New right here coming, you know what I mean? Coming to the puzzle like that right there just elevates the ceiling of the team, you know what I mean? And the kind of the mentality that we have this off season going into this new season, right? And so, no, I totally agree with what you're saying. I guess to kind of like, wrap things up, my final question, I guess our final questions for today is just, as you reflect back on your journey here at BYU and what you've been through, right, and everything that you've accomplished so far, and getting to this point with your last year, and even being a father, you know what I mean, now to Ziggy and stuff like that, and a husband, like what is one thing that you wish, or one thing that you would tell, I guess, your 12-year or 10-year-old self, like now looking back and after being through everything, what's one thing that you can go back and just, or even tell someone that's probably, want to be in our shoes, or, is on the same path as we are right now, right? To get to this level. And so what kind of piece of advice would you give that person or yourself, your younger self?
I would say just, if I were going to give advice to my younger self, is just know that everybody's path is different. But if you have a goal and you have somewhere where you want to be, you can get there. Like your path isn't going to look the same as the person next to you.
Yeah.
You know, some people just coming right out of high school. Some people like doing 2 years at JUCO or you know, taking years off and then coming back playing football later. What I think for myself is what I've learned and what I've seen throughout my seasons here at BYU and just being here in college is like, man, you really can achieve what you want through hard work and through just having good people around you. I think for me, what I've been grateful for here at BYU is just that the connections you build here at BYU. Mm-hmm. Bro, the connections are unmatched. Like you are, there's doors open to you that you wouldn't have anywhere in any other university.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
And when it comes to like being a father, same way. Like the people and the relationships that I built, like my son calls everybody on the football team uncle. Yeah. Like he runs through the locker room and just puts his hand up, just giving high fives to everybody running. Hi, uncle. And it's just, that's another thing. I'm just saying, like, man, like the brotherhood that's here at BYU, it's like none other. And the alumni and the connections you have here, it will just build on for the rest of your life. So I think, for people here at BYU, if you're underclassmen, just, don't be afraid to get connected with people.
Yeah.
Like the person sitting next to you in your class might be, a big boss someday at a corporate company and say that you're a good friend to him throughout that semester. He's going to remember you. Yeah. And he's going to remember you and he'll be able to give you a lending hand. And that's something I learned here. Like there's still some people I keep in contact that I've taken general chemistry with that are still good friends with me. So I think that's something that has been surprising to me at BYU, but I've been like a great blessing for me in my life.
That's awesome, bro. That's some great advice right there, bro. I think that's the first we've heard that. Like make connections and cherish those relationships because they really do, man. They go a long way. You know what I mean? I mean, I think we can all agree we wouldn't be where we at right now if it wasn't for some of those connections, some of those relationships, right, and the people that we've been around. And so I appreciate you, Logan, again for obviously, taking time out of your busy schedule to be here with us, man. Again, bro, you're an inspiration to us, an inspiration to obviously all others who look up to you, man. And so again, bro, we appreciate you for coming on, brother.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, we're excited and looking forward to seeing you on this 2025 season. Bringing the national championship to BYU.
Come on, bro.
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Inside of the Y with me, Hinckley Ropati, and Logan Lutui. We hope you guys will catch us on either Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts, I believe. And so with that being said, we appreciate you guys.